Shalom Akim, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, Bashim Rakwakadash, the honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of William Stone rule well, and the Akim fighting for salvation in diligence and in truth. This is Budam Nasha, run DC camp with another short lesson to edify the hopeful elect. So I'll play this video real quick.
The Trump administration is pushing the UN to recognize the representative of self-declared interim president Juan Guaido as Venezuela's legitimate ambassador to the United Nations. Venezuela's current ambassador to the UN, Samuel Moncada, informed the public last week that in order to achieve its goal of expelling him from the UN, the Trump administration froze the bank accounts of the Venezuelan mission to the UN. According to Ambassador Moncada, this move prevents Venezuela from paying its employees at the UN mission and represents a clear violation of U.S. obligations towards the UN that it had agreed to when New York City was designated as its headquarters. Shortly before Moncada's denunciation of the freezing of Venezuelan UN accounts, a special UN Security Council meeting took place to discuss the situation in Venezuela. Following reports from various analysts, the first country representative to speak was U.S. Vice President Mike Pence.
But now that nations across this hemisphere have spoken, the time has come for the United Nations to recognize interim President Juan Guaido as the legitimate president of Venezuela and seat his representative in this body. This body should revoke the credentials of Venezuela's representative to the United Nations, recognize interim President Juan Guaido, and seat the representative of the Free Venezuelan government in this body without delay. With all due respect, Mr. Ambassador, you shouldn't be here. You should return to Venezuela and tell Nicolas Maduro that his time is up. It's time for him to go.
Shortly after Pence, Russia's ambassador to the UN, Ambassador Nemenzia, addressed the hypocrisy of U.S. economic sanctions and its alleged concern for the suffering of the Venezuelan people.
We categorically reject the methods of the United States with regard to Venezuela. With the one hand, you're grabbing Venezuela by the throat by introducing still new sanctions and restrictions which prevent the country from developing normally. At the same time, international assistance that is required by states should be aimed at creating a situation where a state can take care of its own citizens.
All right, so that's the point right there. So I'm gonna use that, rewind it back.
Representative to the United Nations, recognize interim President Juan Guaido, and seat the representative of the Free Venezuelan government in this body without delay. With all due respect, Mr. Ambassador, you shouldn't be here. You should return to Venezuela and tell Nicolas Maduro that his time is up.
And that's the point there, Akim. So I'm gonna get some quick precepts because it's important to understand Esau, man. What Esau really wants. So it's a beautiful thing. These things need to happen, man. You know, when Jake thinks, about him joining Esau's governing body, he's able to move up. But that's not the way the Lord Yahweh ordained it to be. It's just a distraction from being faithful to the Lord Yahweh. All right. So this is Proverbs chapter 23. All right, and I'm gonna be reading a couple of precepts. So this is verse 1, Proverbs chapter 23, verse 1. When thou sittest to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before thee. All right, and put a knife to thy throat, if thou be a man given to appetite. Be not desirous of his dainties, for they are deceitful meat. All right, so that's one thing, our people always forget, man. That once you're in Esau's system, integrating doesn't guarantee you safety or happiness or peace of mind. It's just a waste of time. That's what Esau always wants you to be. A doormat. From the day that you're in the womb until the day you return to the grave. And that's what you expect from one generation to the other. And those that seek to break the mold are the ones that have faith in Lord Yahweh Shai. When those are the ones, he needs to hold back in check because he sees them as disruptors. All right, that's what Esau's governing structure is all about. He seeks to hold on to power and have more power, and that's exactly what he's been trying to do ever since he became, Esau. You know, and it's sad, but hey, it is what it is, man. There's a chaos you got to deal with. And that's one thing our people need to understand, man. You can't be hoping in Esau's system and think that the idea of democracy is the way forward. Is so-called better than hearkening to the words of the Lord Yabashima Shaba Shema Kwakadash. And you know, they think, because it sounds attractive, it's the right thing to do. But no, it doesn't. And that's why Esau's able to get over our people, because our people have chosen not to hold on to the words of Yahweh Shema Shai, the Holy Scriptures. And people are getting their asses, their behinds handed to them. They're trying to form alliances with other nations to seek protection, but they're not calling on the name of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai. They're not in sackcloth. So just let you know how far people have fallen, from recognizing themselves as the children of the Lord, as gods upon the face of the earth. They've relegated themselves to a piece of toilet paper. All right. So that's how messed up it is, man. And then you look into the origins of this mentality of trying to be like the Edomites, trying to use their structure of governance. You understand that it goes way back. All right. If you look at 1 Samuel chapter 8, all right, then it says, and it came to pass when Samuel was old that he made his sons judges over Israel. Now the name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second was Abiah. They were judges in Beersheba, and his sons walked not in his ways, but turned aside after lucre, all right, and took bribes and perverted judgment. So that's how messed up our judges were, even to this day. Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together and came to Samuel unto Ramah, and said unto him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. All right, and that's what the elders of Israel said, man. And they took counsel together, which was not of the Lord, to seek after a governing structure, a governing ideology of the other nations. And that's how sad, things became back then. All right, but the thing displeased Samuel when they said, Give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto the Lord. And the Lord said unto Samuel, the Lord Yahweh said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people in all that they say unto thee, for they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them. And that's a source of a problem. For that's the source of the problem that Jake is having today. That's why Venezuela's having troubles, Mexico's having problems, Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal, Mali, Costa Rica, Brazil, Uganda, wherever Jake is, man. They're not looking after the law, statutes, and commands of the commandments of the Lord. Yahweh Shema Shai. They're stuck in this idea of democracy, of voting, campaigns and all that madness, and then they have to deal with Esau's financial system, which is another form of oppression. All right. So just let you know that our people have drifted far, far away from the laws of Yahweh Shema Shai, and it's going to take the return of the Lord Yahushua, to get Esau out of the way, to have our people back in order. Destruction needs to happen, for our people to get back on the right track. All right. So this is Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 11. For I am with thee, said the Lord Yahweh, to save thee, though I make a full end of all nations, whether I have scattered thee, yet will I not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. So we got to go through hell, man. We got to be, chastised, for not holding to the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Lord Yahweh Shai. Especially not having faith in the Lord. And that's a terrible thing, to run away from. Faith in the Lord Yahweh Shai is very important. And then just read the prophecy concerning Venezuela, because Venezuela is also part of the nation of Asher. And then you have Brazil, the so-called president of Brazil talking about military intervention in Venezuela. So it's all part of it, man. Esau's divided our nation, into pockets, man. Our nation is not represented at the UN. All right, there's so much division. All right, so much madness. So this is the book of Genesis, chapter 49, verse 20, and then it says, "Out of Asher his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties." All right, so they're gonna have lots of, resources that they could live on, but due to the curse of the Lord Yahweh upon our people, they're catching hell. Misappropriation of funds, oppression from the enemy. Violence is high, madness is high. Our people, are spread out throughout the four corners of the earth. You have Venezuelans here, in Babylon, in Europe, it's all spread out. It's not just Venezuelans, but you also got Levites, Nigerians, you got Benjamites in Jamaica, spread out in England, Europe, South America. Our people are not in one place, holding the laws of Yahweh Shai in high regard and in high esteem. All right, so it's going to be crazy. I won't really talk that much. So just go and look at the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 33, and then you read from 24 to 25 concerning Asher. Asher means to be happy. All right. So Esau wants to hold on to the resources, man, of Venezuela. So he could have something to bargain with and something to build his fortune on. Build more wealth. So this is Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 24. And of Asher he said, this is Moses speaking, all right? Just like Jacob was prophesying, he says, "Let Asher be blessed with children. Let him be acceptable to his brethren, and let him dip his foot in oil." All right. "Thy shoes shall be iron and brass, and as thy days, so shall thy strength be." All right. So that's what Esau's after, man. It's after the blessings of our nation. The riches. That's what Esau really wants, man. Esau's is carnally minded. So wherever our people are, and then you have resources, their natural resources, Esau wants it for himself. And that's a plague of the mind, not to be content with what you have, but to be running around the whole face of the earth looking for things to devour and oppress the people. That's a bad mindset to have, all right? And the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai is going to put that mindset in check. All right? And Esau knows that, he can't deny it. So I get one final precept. So this is the book of Lamentations, chapter 4. And then I read verse 17. All right. So it says, "As for us, our eyes has yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. Alright? And then verse 18 says, they haunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near, our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. Then 19 says, our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. They pursued us upon the mountains and laid wait for us in the wilderness. Alright, so that's how, scary, the oppression of people has become, because Esau, is trying his best, to turn Venezuela inside that upside down, tear it apart, so he could have his way. But you know how it is, man. Esau's kingdom is divided. You know, our people are divided, so there's not going to be any peace upon the face of the earth till the Lord Yahweh Shai set things in order. So I think that's just the point, man. The main point was in Proverbs chapter 23, verses 1 to 3. If you go in society that it's based on righteousness, you gotta be careful, man. Even though you have some bonuses here and there, you could file for unemployment and you could file for this and that, and you don't get comfortable, man. Don't get comfortable. You gotta be on the edge. Even though you having faith, you have faith in Lord Yahweh Shai. You have to understand the Lord requires you to be circumspect. All right, that's the point. So be circumspect in the spirit of the Lord Yahweh Shai, and do not fall for the doctrine of Esau, that you lose your faith in the Lord Yahweh Shai. You don't want that to happen, all right? Because Yahweh Shai says you got to hold on to your crown. You don't want no one to steal it. No one to deceive you. That you start to cry in the last days. You don't want that. You got to have faith unto the end, that what the Lord Yahweh Shai has promised, it's genuine. It's real. It's the real deal. You can't ignore it. You have to hold on to it. So that's the point. Hakim. So I say, Kahala Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Hashem Kadash. Double honors and salutations to the elder apostle of great Mr. Word Hakim, fighting for the sincerity of the truth. This is what we gotta deal with, man. You gotta see all the chaos our people have to deal with, till the Lord Yahweh Shai appears. Shalom.